Terry Mcginnis, also known as the Batman of the Future or Batman Beyond, is a symbol of hope. Terry symbolizes hope not simply because he's a superhero, but rather in what he does in his everyday life, because he isn't special. He doesn't have superpowers or a convoluted backstory, but rather is like everybody else. Terry doesn't come from a wealthy family. He's your average teen with average teen problems, such as a broken home, trying to avoid the wrong crowds while trying to fit in simultaneously, balancing his school life, personal life, his job, and his social life. Terry's just like everybody, doing the best that they can with what they got and never giving up hope. But Terry inspires those around him to overcome their issues like Terry does. What really separates Terry from the OG Batman Bruce Wayne are their qualities. Bruce sees the worst in people while Terry tries to see the best in everyone. Bruce comes from a place of pain and darkness, while Terry left his place of darkness and is now trying to come from a place of hope and naivety. But the two most important aspects of Terry's characters is relatability and his path of redemption. Terry is simply a 16-year-old kid who wants to make the world a better place. For those unfamiliar, Batman Beyond takes place after the iconic and incredibly influential Batman the Animated Series created by Bruce Timm and aired in the early to mid-90s. Batman Beyond takes place in the year 2039. Bruce Wayne is approximately 80 years old and can no longer continue being Batman, while his past sidekicks have moved on. Barbara Gordon is now commissioner like her father Jim. Tim Drake has moved on to engineering. Dick Grayson has since retired, and this is where Terry comes in. To give a little backstory, Terry comes from a broken family. His parents are divorced, causing Terry to become an angry kid. He began hanging out with the wrong crowd and ended up spending 3 months in juvie. When Batman Beyond begins in the very first episode, Terry gets into an altercation with the Joker's gang. When he tries to evade the gang, Terry ends up at Wayne Manor, which is where he meets Bruce. Both Terry and Bruce fight off the Jokers. Later on, Bruce's heart starts acting up, so Terry runs inside to get him his medication, which is when Terry discovers Bruce is Batman, which gets him kicked out of the manor. When Terry returns home, he learns his father had been killed, which inspires him to steal the new and improved bat suit, with the goal of bringing the man who killed his father to justice. At first, Bruce is very opposed to the idea of Terry becoming Batman, but after some time, he decides to become Terry's, quote, guy in the chair, guiding him on missions. Now that we have the background information, we can explore the character further. The reason why Terry McGinnis is so beloved is because of his relatability. Unlike Bruce or anyone else in the Bat family, Terry is not well trained in combat or skills required to be Batman. Rather, he's just learning as he's going, while still dealing with his own problems, the same teenage problems that I mentioned earlier before. An episode that highlights the life balance or lack thereof and its relatability is episode 19 from season 2 titled The Egg Baby. Harry is assigned to take care of this fake baby in his home ed class, something that even if you've never had to do, you can understand and relate to, especially the idea that his partner doesn't want to do any of the work and wants to leave it all up to Terry. We've all been there. Therefore, Terry has to take this baby on his missions to his job, which his job is being Batman, but still, he takes this egg baby with him to take out the villain Mom Mayhem and her kids. Another episode that really shows this relatability and kind of what Terry deals with is in the same season, episode 13, titled Terry's Friend Dates a Robot. It shows how much Terry sticks up for people and how much he cares, specifically for this student named Howard. And it shows what he has to deal with in the social politics. Because admit it or not, as a teenager, that's incredibly important. It follows a student named Howard who is trying to throw this huge party in order to make friends because he thinks that's what will get him accepted. Howard also creates the girl of his dreams who is a robot because he also thinks that would get him accepted. Harry tells Howard regardless, he will always accept him. But at the same time, he understands tricky navigation of social politics in the teenage world. Even when it blows up in his face, Harry doesn't get mad at Howard. He's still there for him and supports him. Something that we all should feel. Like we have someone in our corner who will accept us no matter what. I do want to mention a lot of this relatability and balance is very prevalent in Batman Beyond movie, Return of the Joker. However, I want to save that for its own section. Unlike Bruce, Terry has a hopeful eye and sees the best in all of his antagonists, something Bruce has lost sight of. It's well known that Bruce Wayne does care about his villains, especially in the animated series in that universe. Like he paid for Harvey Dent's facial operation, or when he sat with Ace as she died. But over time, when seeing the worst parts of humanity, it's easy to lose hope in people and to begin seeing the worst in everybody. But since Terry is still very young and inexperienced, he sees the best in people. There are so many antagonists he tries to help throughout the series, such as Zeta, Dr. Corso, Fingers the Gorilla, and many more. One great example is episode 5 of season 1, called Meltdown, when Mr. Freeze returns, and this really displays the hopefulness Terry constantly has. Mr. Freeze comes back from the dead and appears to be shameful of his past actions. Terry does all he can to support him on this new path of redemption, wanting to see Mr. Freeze succeed, even though Bruce is against it, and Bruce is telling Terry this will never work out. But Terry still roots for him and even argues against Bruce on Freeze's defense. However, and when Freeze inevitably returned to how he once was, Terry still tries to save him and let him know that he cares about him.
Stay where you are.
You gotta get out of here, Freeze. The whole place is gonna go.
Believe me, you're the only one who cares. Terry, get out of there now!
Freeze, no!
Which leads to a very interesting conversation between Bruce and Terry. While Terry is mourning and realizing Bruce was right, Freeze would go back to this villainy, Bruce assures Terry they were both right, showing Terry was able to inspire and cause Bruce to feel something he hasn't felt often, being hope. Terry is someone who can inspire and bring hope wherever he goes. An important relationship I want to discuss only appears in season 3, but I think it really encapsulates a lot of what I've been saying about Terry's character, the hope, the naivety, and the relatability. And it's the relationship between Terry and his old friend, Charles Big Time Bigelow. And Big Time appears in both episode 4 and 9 of season 3. Big Time used to be really good friends with Terry when they were younger, and the two had gotten arrested together. But since Terry was younger than Big Time, Terry only served 3 months in juvie, while Big Time went to jail for 3 years. When Big Time was released from jail, he wanted to continue doing illegal jobs, while Terry changed to better himself. Regardless, Terry fought for Big Time to get a job at Wayne Enterprises, advocating on his behalf, convincing Bruce to take a chance on him. And then Big Time ended up using Terry to rob from Wayne Enterprises. But that didn't stop Terry. He still wanted to see Big Time turn his life around, would still try to convince him that he didn't have to live this life of crime. But Big Time didn't listen. And during the heist, some chemicals spilt onto Big Time, causing him to mutate, becoming much larger. To be honest, he looked a bit like Solomon Grundy, but yeah. And even when Big Time returns in episode 9, and he's now working for this mafioso-like character, Big Time goes to Terry to try to get him to join the crew, but Terry still sees the best in Big Time. Still sees him as that friend that he used to get in trouble with, and wants him to change. Still telling him that he can get him a job, offering him a cure, but Big Time just uses Terry again. Goes along with the plan till it benefits him, just to stab Terry in the back. Terry and Big Time end up having a big fight, which Terry defeats him. This shows the best aspects of Terry's character, this relationship. His ability to see the best in people, still wanting to see Big Time turn his life around, regardless of what others say, regardless of track record, and regardless of what Big Time has done to him. He still believes in him, and he doesn't lose hope in him. At the end of the saga, after the final battle when Terry has to walk away, it's symbolic. It's showing that it's normal for people to outgrow friends and social crowds. We all grow and change, but some people you just outgrow. Some places you outgrow. Some crowds you outgrow, and that's normal. And Terry really showed that. And I think that's something that we can all relate to. And it also shows hope in taking change and being who you want to be. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is the only Batman Beyond film. And I think it is just an incredibly underrated Batman film in general. It really encapsulates Terry's character and what he stands for. The dichotomy between Terry and Bruce, the dichotomy between the Joker and Bruce, and this new dichotomy between Terry and the Joker. I could do an entire video essay alone on just the movie and the relationships within the movie. But Terry's naivety is on full display with how much he underestimates the Joker because he doesn't have that background of dealing with the Joker. So he just sees him as this goofy clown. However, Bruce is rightfully scared for Terry to go up against him. It's a bit ironic when Terry defeats the Joker because Joker's hubris got to him and allowed Terry to get into his head. It also shows just how different Terry is from Bruce in the sense he talks back to the Joker. He fights dirty. He isn't stuck in Bruce's shadow, rather being his own person, which is a vocal point of this film. Terry trying to fulfill Bruce's shoes before realizing that he is his own person and he does not need to be, nor should he try to be Bruce. The idea of filling in somebody else's shoes is something many people can relate to, and that feeling of realizing that who you are is enough. There's no need or benefit of you trying to become someone you're not. It speaks volumes at the end when Bruce, someone that Terry looks up to and admires, gives him his approval and tells him that he did a good job and that he's proud of him. Something that we should all hear from an idol, someone we look up
Terry,
to.
I've been thinking about something you once told me. And you were wrong. It's not Batman that makes you worthwhile. It's the other way around. Never tell yourself anything different.
Thanks.
It also displays how hopeful Terry is and what motivates him. Obviously, what motivates Bruce is this place of darkness, his parents' death, while Terry is trying to make up for his past mistakes.
You've made your father's killers pay for his murder, then put your own needs aside to help the city when it most needed a hero. You've honored the reputation of Batman many times over, and for that I thank you.
Then why?
I had no right to force this life on you or anyone else.
Hey, I was the one who broke in and swiped the suit, remember? Yes, there was my dad's murder, but we come from two different worlds, Mr. Wayne. I wasn't like you or the kids you took in. I was a pretty bad kid once. Ran with a rough crowd, broke a lot of laws to say nothing of my folks' hearts. The kind of punk you wouldn't have wasted a second punch on back in the day.
Your point?
I'm trying to make up for past sins. The state says my 3 months in juvie wiped me clean, but my soul tells me different. Every time I put on that suit, it's my chance to help people who are in trouble. I guess on a personal level, it's a chance to look like a worthwhile human being again. In my eyes, if no one else's. It's what I want, Bruce.
The path of redemption is something that everyone can relate to. We have all made mistakes, but Terry shows us It's how we learn from them that matters, and that everybody deserves a second chance. Thank you all for watching. I apologize for the clunky editing and maybe the clunky audio. It's my first time making a video like this, but I just think really highly of this character, and I think he's a symbol of hope. And though he does have a strong following, I think a lot more people need to learn about Batman Beyond, the Batman of the future.
Who are you?
You killed my father.
Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?